So hey guys, today I'm going to do a tutorial and a walkthrough. Basically, I'm going to be doing a walkthrough, but I'll be telling you about the steps I do um, of a flight that I'm going to fly um, from Paris, Charles de Gaulle, to Dublin. So I'm going to choose a Boeing 777-200LR for this journey, and I'm going to scoot over to the uh, location. I'm going to choose Dublin. Paris, and here it is, Paris Charles de Gaulle. And once I'm done with that, I'm gonna click fly. Hey guys, this is me, Captain Jose, and today I'm gonna make a walkthrough of me flying from Paris to Dublin. I'm gonna go step by step. Um, Local time in Paris right now is 11:16, and I'm going to be flying during nighttime. The first thing we need to do is to find the amount of fuel we need, and we need to fill that amount of fuel into our plane. So I used a website called fuelplanner.com, and in that website what you can do is you could choose the type of plane you're flying, which in this case is a Boeing 777-200LR, and you have to choose your origin, which in this case is LFPG or Paris Charles de Gaulle, and you have to choose your arrival, which is EIDW or Dublin Airport, and then you have to type plan, and then that software will give you a fuel plan. So for this journey, I need about 44,582 pounds of fuel. So I'm going to first fill that. And so the amount is 44,582. So I'm going to click refuel, and then I'm going to click fast. That's done. It's refueled. And I'm going to load the plane now. Since it's a commercial plane, it's expectable that the plane will be loaded. So I'm going to load it with 4,000 pounds of cargo. I'm going to put some business and maybe 5 first class people. I'm going to set the crew to about 10 folks, and then I'm going to enable this. You need to enable these if you want to add passengers before clicking start boarding and start loaded. And then I'm going to click instant, and we'll do it automatic. It'll quickly fill up the plane. Okay. The plane's loaded. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the QH value that I need to put into my instruments from the tower. So to do that, I'm going to scoot over to the radiostat. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to check what's the nearby ADC services in range. It's LFPG. So we need to get this frequency added. We need to we need to enter this frequency, and we need to listen. So it's 127.120. I think it's better adjusted here because I'm unable to adjust it to 127.20. So I'm just gonna write 127.12. Sorry, I got that wrong. It's 127.12, not 20. 0.12. Enter that, and I'm going to swap it. It's really strange how I was unable to change, but nevertheless, it's okay. So I'm going to hear from that frequency by pressing this.
This is Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport information Yankee. Time 2120 Zulu. Expect ILS approach, landing and departing runway 26.
I'm going to go back to the cockpit.
60 at 7 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers or more. No significant clouds. Temperature 21. 2.4. QNH 1034 hectopascal or 30 decimal.
It's 1034. So I'm going to plug the value into the instrument. 1034 hectopascals. So yeah, we have entered the detail in. Now I'm going to put the flight route. So in FlightGear, routes can be loaded in the form of files with the extension. Hold on. I'm going to load a file. So routes can be added by uploading files with the extension FGFP, such as the file that I'm now uploading. Good. I'm going to close this now, and I'm going to look at the map and check if the route is properly entered, because I don't want to be in a situation where I entered like a waypoint, which by accident is a waypoint that I wrongfully entered, which will cause my plane to go far to Russia before rejoining the route and continuing to Ireland. Good, it's perfect. There's no issues with the route now. So I'm going to go back to the route manager, and I'm going to choose a runway. We may change this value depending upon availability and whether the runway has ILS or not. So for now, just leave it like that. Approach as default, and I'm going to be cruising in an altitude of about 35,000 feet, and my cruise speed would be. It's okay. I'm just going to leave this. I'm going to leave that number as it is. I'm just going to click on this and click activate, and voila, I'm done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the value to 250. Once I've added to the number 250 here, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on this. I turn them on. If you want to confirm whether you turn those things on, just look here. If LH throttle arm and RH throttle arm have an X close to them, that means that you have turned these things on properly. So here, I'm going to just put my cruise altitude of 35,000 feet and my vertical speed, I'm going to leave it at 1,500. My transition altitude, I'm going to leave it at, I want to keep it at 18,000. No issues with that. So we've done this. We've got the routes ready. We got the fuel ready. And so I'm just going to press LNAV now. And I'm going to enable VNAV. I'm going to press the H to get the HUD on. And I'm going to release the parking brake. I'm not going to be telling which keys I use from now on, because if you want to know which key, how to do the things that I do, just refer to the Common Aircraft Keys window and just use these keys, yeah? And for keys specific to the craft that I'm flying, click on Aircraft Help and you'll get. The flaps, we're going to set it to I'll set it to 5. Increase throttle.
B1. Rotate.
Lift. Positive rate. G. Flaps to 1. Gear retracted. That's the airport we flew out from, the one illuminated in blue. I'm going to pull the flaps up now. And we crossed the transition altitude now. So I'm going to turn the lights off. The landing lights are off now. We're gradually increasing in height. So I ran into a small issue, so I switched to flight change mode. From VNAV mode, I just clicked this button and I switched when there was like an issue with speed. Now I'm going to increase the speed 0.79. Now we are at our cruise altitude. The reason why I switched from VNAV to flight changing mode for a while was because I noticed that the speed was decreasing severely. So I'm going to stick with 0.86. Move a little bit up. And I'm going to be cruising at Mach 0.78. Now, even though it looks like a slow speed of like 68 knots, I'm actually raging through the sky. Technically, in the air, I'm flying at 453 knots. So, yeah. I'm cruising at 0.790 Mach. So this is we just crossed the French coast, or we're about to cross the French coast, and this is the English Channel for those who don't know. So we're flying over the English Channel now. So now I just enabled VNAV path, VNAV, sorry. So you can see that, and right now I am almost about to cross into the English coast. About just a few miles away from Seaford, close to Brighton and Suffolk. I crossed in, actually. So basically, what I did is I reduced the altitude to 30,200 feet. Now we're flying towards our last waypoint before we come close to the airport. I know there are waypoints here, but these waypoints are more related to runway. So, yeah. So I should... I'm going to descend to 19,400 feet now. Good, I'm going to press the flight change button and the flight's going to change. The level is going to go down in altitude. The top of the descent has come. So after this point, a few miles after this point, I'm going to start descent. I'm going to reduce the speed to about 300 knots. We've begun our descent, so I'm going to go over to the overhead panel, and I want to turn the passenger signs, seatbelt signs on. And that's good. I'm going to go back to the cockpit now. I'm going to reduce it to about 270 to 90 knots. I'm going to reduce the speed to 280 knots. Apologies. I'm going to actually increase the speed to about 300. That'll be fine. So we begin our descent. So I'm going to perform an ILS automatic landing in Dublin, and an ILS is basically an instrument landing system that will help me land the plane automatically. And so I'm going to reduce my speed to my altitude, sorry, to 4,242, and I'm going to be descending at a rate of negative 1,500. It's okay. I'll set the altitude to 42,000. Sorry, 4,200, and I'm gonna set the rate of descent to negative 1,500, and I'm gonna move the speed to 250. 250 knots. The plane is descending at a rate of negative 1,500. I'm going to turn the landing lights on now. So I'm going to check if Dublin's airport is in range because I need to get the QNH value and in order to configure the plane for an ILS landing. Dublin is not still in range, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over the map and I'm going to get the ILS information for runway 28. So the frequency is 11.35 megahertz and the heading is 278. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to my radio stack here and type the frequency here, and I'm going to put the heading here. Now I'm going to swap, and there you go. So once it comes in range, this is going to light up, showing that we have come closer to an area where we can operate the ILS system. Just gonna set the altitude to bid to 500 actually. We're descending slowly. Now I'm gonna dim the cabin lights because we're close to landing. Now we have come a bit close now to our target altitude of 5,000 feet. We are about 26.0 nautical miles away from the airport. And I dimmed my lights for the landing. I believe now Dublin is going to be in range, so I'm going to check if the ATC services. Yeah, here's EIDW. So I'm going to type in the ATS frequency over here, 124.52. I'm going to swap it, and I'm going to scoot over to the radio staff. Since I already had this turned on, I can already hear. Otherwise, if I didn't keep this turned on, I should have gone here and then pressed it to be able to hear what the ATIS was broadcasting. So 1030 hectopascal. Okay, I'm done listening now. Good. So we have that configured now. As we check the map. I'm going to reduce the speed to 230. And I'm going to set the flaps to 1. And I'm going to set the flaps to 2. Sorry. Yeah. I'm going to reduce the altitude to 3,000 feet. And continue reducing. I'm going to change the speed to 200 knots now. And Dublin Airport is slightly closed now. I will put the flaps now. 2, 3. Putting the speed brakes. I'm taking the speed brakes off now. I'm further reducing the speed to 170 knots. Once I fly into this blue area, I'm going to enable the localizer. Or once I enter that waypoint. Now I'm going to put the localizer on. And now the plane will be automatically steered in a way that'll align to the runway. And I'm going to reduce the altitude to 2242 or 2200 actually. Be reducing the altitude at a rate of negative 500. Now that we have this diamond thing here on the center line, we can click on the approach button, and since we have the runway on visual, I'm going to pull down the gear, full flaps, approach speed.
$2,500.
Good, and now the vertical component of the landing is going to be taken over by the system. I'm continuing to reduce speed I want my speed to match this the green line, sorry. So, yep. Now it's matching. So, Shift X. I'm going to enable auto brake. set that to auto brake 2. Yeah, now since we got the lantern message, we know that the plane's gonna land itself now. Let's just take some views before landing. That's our plane. Those are some buildings there next to the sea. That's the runway. That's Dublin's airport. Some fields here.
1,000.
During the day, if you approach the airport, you'll be taken aback by the splendid beauty
Approaching 2-8.
of the country. Ireland is really beautiful. It's really an emerald isle because its natural beauty is so stunning. So I'm approaching the runway. I'm putting my hand
500.
on the delete button, ready to press it once we touch down in order to activate the reverse thrusters.
400. 300. Minimums. 200.
I'm pressing H
100.
and I'm turning the HUD on.
50. 40. 30. 20.
Touchdown.
10.
Reverse thrusters on. I'm pressing the brakes.
5,000 feet remaining. 4,000 feet remaining.
We've come to a stop. So I'm going to put the parking brake. And I'm going to pull back the reverse thrusters. That's it. We successfully did a landing. I know we landed a little bit away from the center line, but we made a successful landing. So all that is left for me to do is to taxi this way and then go to the terminal, which is here, and then I have to just go to the gate, and then that's it. Thank you for following me through with this walkthrough. I hope it was useful. Now that we landed, I'm just gonna turn the cabin lights on. And this is Captain Jose. Do subscribe and follow my channel for more walkthroughs. this was how our landing looked. We were approaching
Minimums. Minimums.
and here we were, the runway being closed.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
The reverse thrusters, we engaged them. This, by the way, is a recap. Just recapping. I should have steered a little bit to the left to line myself in the center line. I turned the speed brakes on just slow because I feared I may overshoot the runway. And about here, I finally was able to slow down, and I put the parking brakes over here. So that's it. That was our landing.